That all of this can be yours on one condition only, and that is you obey. Obey and live, disobey and die. We know, of course, what man did. And sin came down to this earth. It transferred from heaven down to this planet and lost all of those wonderful things that he had gained. And you know, from that point, as soon as sin and transgression came into the human family, it was a story of conflict. In other words, it was a mighty controversy going on, Satan, truth and error, obedience and disobedience. And the whole Bible from that point on is filled, and it's also filled with God's great plan and program to bring man back to that original position of obedience from which he fell. In fact, every Bible, every chapter and verse and line practically is occupied with that tremendous program of God and heaven to restore man back to that original position. Jesus, the Bible says, for he shall save his people from their sin. Now, sin, of course, is disobedience, isn't it? It's breaking. Now, I've had people say to me, well, you know, Brother Joe, that old business of works and keeping the law and obeying the commandments, that's only external flesh things. Those are the outward works, and God is not interested in those things. He's only interested in the heart. Well, now, friends, let me tell you something. Back in the beginning, that was the best. You see, that's always been God's test of love and God's test of loyalty, is our willingness to serve him, obey him. And in the beginning, God said, this is it. If you want to really show your love for me, if you want to show that you're loyal to me, keep my commandments. Obey me. I'm giving you this word and this commandment. And so it has always been, friends. We come down to the last book of the Bible, the book of Revelation. And you know, once again, we find that the great test God has made is a test of love, a test of loyalty. In fact, the outstanding characteristic of those in the book of Revelation who will be saved out of this earth and translated for those that keep the commandments of God. You see, the conditions that God set up in the beginning for man to remain in the Garden of Eden became the conditions for man to return to the Garden of Eden, the very same. In fact, you just go through that last book of the Bible and you'll find it so. Revelation 14:12. The patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Revelation 12:17. The dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Revelation 22:14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the and may enter in through the gates into the city. So, friends, God must have a people that he can trust with immortality and with